Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you for coming and for joining us today's webinar. And I'm assuring us that it's going to be worthwhile for you joining. Thank you. I think I've acknowledged everyone that have come in. We appreciate you. Let me see. Mr. Chris Uwaje, we appreciate you. Mr. Diola, Mr. Aisha, Mr. Augustine, Dr. Barrero, Derek Idiangoya, Mrs. Ebele, Mr. Jide, Lucky, Mrs. Olukemi Awe. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you once again. We believe that we're going to have a nice time this morning. And we'll quickly go into the webinar straight away. So, a warm welcome to all parents, guardians, mentors, and educators. And thank you for joining us online. And we believe that your presence here really shows your commitment to shaping the future of our children, of our guardians as well. We know that parents play a critical role in guiding their children's career. But today, digital skills, we know that they are very essential for everyone, regardless of what child wants to study. AI, robotics, and technology touch every profession. Even those who didn't study STEM are thriving because they embraced it. That's why we are here to help parents, guardians, and mentors, particularly educators as well, to raise confident, creative, STEM-ready children. Today, we'll explore practical strategies, emerging trends, and how to prepare our children to thrive in a digital world. And with us this morning, we have eminent people that will do justice to this, our topic this morning, raising the STEM-ready future talents. I know you being here this morning is going to be worthwhile because they are going to do justice to this topic and we're going to have a nice time. As the webinar goes on, please, if you have questions, you drop it in the chat. And also, we're going to drop a WhatsApp link that if you want to join, you can actually join so that we can drop our materials and resources as well. Even after this webinar, we'll drop some other links that can help parents to guide their children because of these digital skills as well. It's going to be a place where we can also engage our parents as well to assist our children. So right away, we're going to the webinar straight, and we're having our first speaker. This man is a wonderful person to me. By the grace of God, where I am today, God has used him for me. He's my mentor, Mr. Jide. He encouraged me to where I am today in the area of IT. I will keep saying it everywhere. Thank you so much for being there and for this encouragement and for pushing me to where I am today. I want to say a big thank you to you, sir, Mr. Jide. So we're going to go to Mr. Jide, but before we go, let's have the short profile for Mr. Jide.
Mr. Jide Awe, CEO, Jidao.com, MD, Jidao Systems Limited, Science, Technology, Innovation Advisor. Mr. Jide Awe is a leading digital transformation and STI policy expert, certified in implementing the AU's STSA 2024 strategy, and awarded Nigeria's Tech Mentor of the Year 2024. His career spans LN Ericsson, UBA, EcoBank, CTB, and Jidao Systems, where he pioneered computer education and online tech content in Nigeria. A fellow of the Nigeria Computer Society, he is a respected speaker and writer on innovation, data protection, and digital development.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Jide. You have the microphone now. Thank you. Let's welcome our first speaker. You can unmute, sir.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. And thank you for that introduction. Thank you for everything. And I want to commend you too for this initiative. Thank everybody for participating. Start this when you pass. If you have your mentor, I look up to him. He has been a guide for so many of us. So I think I have 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So let me go straight into to share my thoughts with you on this topic. The title of my topic is Raising Innovators is Future Ready Children. So I want to acknowledge, because when I was giving this notice, I was told it was going to be parent-oriented. So I want to acknowledge the parents that are on. That means you have interest in guiding your children to become future ready. And why this topic matters is because we are in a different era, and we must guide our children. We see them as the leaders of tomorrow, but they can only lead tomorrow if they are properly equipped for tomorrow. And the world is shifting fast. So the children we have, they are competing with other children, other nations, and they must be prepared not just to survive, but to contribute. Because in this world, you have the contributors and you have the consumers. So these are some of the things I'll discuss. So what can you do as parents, as mentors, as educators, so that you ensure that the children are not just passengers, but they are also decision makers. They're also leaders. They're also problem solvers, and they are able to take us to where we should be. So this world is the reason why it's so critical is that there are more online risks than ever before. There are social media pressures. There is information overload. That's why there's so much misinformation. And then the cultures are changing too. So all these things require deliberate action from our parts and spirits as mentors for our children, and it also requires constant vigilance. For us as well, we talk about digital literacy. It also requires the parents too to be digital literate and to understand the complexity of the world that we are in now. The world is changing fast. Like Ms. Omojola said, you have the world of automation, AI is no longer, we have left the industrial era. So we have the world of AI, robotics, data, cybersecurity, climate technology. So, one thing I always tell parents, educators, when I talk to them is that you cannot really equip children totally for the new world's jobs, the next era jobs, because some of those jobs that they are going to go into don't exist yet. So, but you can equip them to understand the principles. But for you to start saying, you must be hard-coded into this job is impossible because the pace of change is so fast, and traditional education. That's why you have to encourage this kind of seminar, this kind of work opportunities to discuss, because traditional education it's not, even right now, it's not enough to equip children, to equip people who are learning in the tech field. And that's the kind of what we live in. So going straight to STEM. What does STEM mean apart from the acronym itself? STEM basically, for parents, for mentors, and people, is about problem solving. When you look at education, we have to refocus. We have to remind education. Education is not just about going for classes. It's not just about receiving certificates. Are the children able to solve problems? These are some of the things that we should start emphasizing, as a parent. And the children able to, it's good. They have good praise. But are they able to solve problems? I saw a training school, and at the science stage, I told some of those students in the training school that what is important, yeah, it's good to get your certificate, but can you solve the problems that the certificate says you can solve? There's no big deal. You know, IT is a world in which it's about solving problems. STEM is about solving problems. It's about creativity, thinking new. Look at how the world is today. This was not how the world was 10 years ago. In terms of internet, in terms of AI, in terms of social media. We must have that curious mind, that creativity, and then adaptability. STEM is also about making sure that children should be able to adapt to changes. They should know what to do when they are changing. They should be able to think on their feet. Adaptability. And that goes for us as parents as well. So because if you want to give that to your child, you cannot give what you don't have. You must also be adaptable. You can't keep on saying, this is the way we have been doing things. I will continue doing it that way. That's not the world we are living in anymore. Because then they have to have analytical thinking. Analytical thinking is very close to what I call critical. That means you must be able to analyze issues. Don't just swallow things look like and sink. Like right now, there's a lot of information about different things, insecurity, things that happen in different parts of the country, in other countries. And sometimes we just swallow those things. We should be able to analyze issues. And children, it's very important. That's part of the analytical thinking. And just swallow things and try and see, does this make sense? And then also have that confidence. A lot of the problem that some of us had who are not digital natives is we don't have confidence with technology. They don't have any excuse, and I think you should encourage them to have that confidence with technology. So STEM is not just about the careers, but it's making sure that we develop children who are thinkers, who are creators, who are solution-building problem solvers. That's why mindset comes before skills. I always say this, is it just about ability? Is it just about ability? Or it's about desire? Or it's about where you want to go? Anybody can train, I always say you can train people to do things, but if they are not inspired, if they don't have the mindset, it's a different thing. They may not get the results that you really want them to get. And especially when you want them to be thinkers. Thinkers don't come from programming. Thinkers don't come from certificates. It's first the mindset. And one of the most important mindset you have to instill to children. Unfortunately, I don't think we had that kind of mindset when we were growing up. Was that consumption? That consumption mindset to a creation and curiosity mindset. Parents, teachers, encourage your children to be curious, to ask questions. Asking questions. I read it somewhere this morning. It said asking questions is a sign of intelligence. You understand? But when some of us were growing up, they shut you down when you ask questions. It means that you are trying to create, you are troublesome. But that is not the mentality. So we need to shift from that consumption mindset to a mindset of curiosity and creativity, creation, and the innovators mindset. Innovation will always happen. We had typewriters at one time. We don't have typewriters again. We now have computers. What does that mean? There are going to be changes. Every time there's new technology. But what is important in every age is not that innovative mindset. That mindset of curiosity over memorization, experimenting over perfection. Sometimes we don't want to experiment because you are afraid that you might lose. You are afraid that you might fail. You are afraid that things might go wrong. But if you don't experiment, the people that started the air business, airline business, or the aircraft itself, they experiment before they got perfection. Perfection is not perfection as a hurdle, as a barrier. Encourage your children to experiment. I know sometimes it might be costly, but don't kill that creative, that experimenting attitude or feeling within them, because children have it, and that's some things we should nurture. And also learning over grades. I know that most parents will want to see what's your result, where's your result, where's your result. Where's your result? You also be accompanied with what are you learning? What can you do that you didn't do before? What problems can you solve that you didn't solve before? And possibilities over fear. Possibilities over fear is basically imagination, imaginative. Encourage imagination. Normalize mistakes. Normalize exploring. Normalize questioning. The questions, person that is afraid to ask questions will not make anything. There's a Chinese proverb that says that the person who asks questions is a fool for 1 minute, but the person who never asks questions is a fool forever. I prefer to be a fool for 1 minute. What about you? So the parent growth shift is also important. You have to understand something known as reverse mentoring. That means that there are certain things, especially at this age, that your children can teach you. Embrace it. Let them have that confidence that they can teach you, and you also embrace it. And then also, that shift is also has to do with ideas over hierarchy. You know, traditionally we say ideas can only come from the top, can only come from the older person. Now let us calm down. The reality of life, ideas can come from anybody. This digital age, this innovation age, try to start instilling that into your children too. And also have an attitude of lifelong and constant learning. Learning is for life. Learning does never stops. It's not just about the certificate. It's not just about attending the school or the university. It never stops. Also have that what I call abundance mentality. That abundance mentality has to do with a desire to share, not hoarding of knowledge. We are in a sharing economy. I remember when I started sharing information on our website a long time ago, decades ago. Some people were worried. They said, "Why are you sharing this kind of information freely without charging people for it?" And I wonder because they didn't understand that this is an economy in which you have to share. It's not about you hoarding information. Yeah, there are certain things that maybe you don't, maybe it's personal and it has to do with privacy and things like that. But I'm teaching you how to use computers. Who is not, I mean, these are things that if you know how to use computers, if you're going to know how to use computers, you are going to benefit as well. At the end of the day, you understand, so you have to have that abundance mentality. And I've talked of encouragement of curiosity in children as well. So parents don't have all the answers, don't pretend as if you have all the answers, and also show that you are also willing to learn alongside with your children. That's, and also show that you can believe that your children may be better. I do it, I practice it. There are so many things that I tell my son, I don't know how to do this, how do I do this, and he tells me, you understand? So it's something that we can practice because it's helping. What I also want to look at is the skills that children can start developing gradually, depending on which level they are. But it really depends on the question of interest. There are skills like coding and programming, robotics, data and analytics, digital creativity. That's Ms. Omojola does that a lot. That's video, animation and design, AI literacy, and then engineering and making that do-it-yourself STEM. Practical engineering from a young age. These are not rockets. They don't have to be expensive or advanced, but the exposure matters. And then let there be, when you want to talk about building that culture of experimenting, try to do encourage the use of simple exercises, puzzles, online short. There are so many online short courses now on YouTube and even on different websites. I encourage them to, YouTube can also participate in some of these online short courses. And a lot of them are even free. You understand? They on Coursera, some of these learning sites. Encourage them. Not everything has to just be watching videos or watching, you understand, or some of these other things. Robotics clubs, hands-on things, encourage hands-on activities, projects. You understand? That not just sitting in front of a screen, but working with other students. Constant extreme. I hope I'm still on. Well, yeah, noise right now.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, all right. And then let this learning start from home. Let your home be a place for questions. Don't let your children be afraid of asking questions. There is nothing wrong with asking. It's not a sign of disrespect. It's not a sign of bad attitude. Have a spirit of investigation. We used to have this when we are at school, treasure hunt and things like that. You can do modern things like that will task the child, that will make them try to investigate what could be happening in this situation, what could be happening in that situation. Research, experimenting, projects are very important for working because you see, in this age, you can't do everything on your own. You must work with others to get results. So how do you work with others? You must respect others. You must believe that others to have something to say. All those kind of things, you start building them up with that kind of attitude at a very young age. So it's not when they grow older and they find people to work on teams. Let them understand this. Why does the fridge work? You know, these are practical things. Why does the car start? Why does the gear behave like this? Why does the fan make that noise? You understand? These are practical things, everyday things. STEM learning should start at home. What you are doing at home, maybe even some projects, building a bed, building a stool. You know, this kind of things, practical things that they can see in their day-to-day lives. And then also, one of the other things about the STEM is that because of the power behind it, and we must also be digitally responsible. So future leaders must understand privacy and respect. The way we interact with others online, are we respectful in our interactions? The information that is kept with us, is that information secure? Do we share it carelessly? Do we store it in a secure manner? Do we store it the way? You know, these are privacy issues. This kind of defined right now from very age. Is that information secure? Is it stored properly? Will it be used for what you said you are going to use that information for? You know, because you got that information from somebody, that data from somebody. Then responsible content creation. You know, it's very easy now to create a lot of these AI things and whatever, but are you being responsible? You know, you can create things that people will know, oh, this is just a joke. This is not serious. But you know, you have some that are bothering on things that are happening, and it's like misinformation. Get an AI of somebody talking and misinformation and interpreted in different ways. I don't mind if it is something that you know, it's a joke, or you are trying to teach people how to do certain things. But when it is about people that are in real life, about situations that are in real life, and you know, creating misinformation, using it to create misinformation, that is not responsible. And then fair use, intellectual property, all these things are equally important. How do you integrity? Because a lot of things we must understand is technology is only as good as our integrity. Technology is only as good as our integrity. Technology is not a cure-all. If you are using technology without any integrity, you are a dangerous person. You understand? And so you must encourage your children to understand that there is, you know, they must be responsible when they use technology. Cyber safety is important. The importance of cyber security, I think should be able to understand the importance of identifying social from platforms, being able to identify scams, not just downloading any information, protecting your personal information. All these things are things that you should need to teach your children too. And then the role of mentorship. You are, as a mentor, like I've said, encourage curiosity, encourage confidence, encourage exposure, encourage accountability, and most importantly, encourage aspirations. I always say certain things. If you are just learning and all your aim is just to learn that thing, but you don't have any ambition, it's labor lost. What is your learning for? What is your purpose? You understand? So that's why I say encourage aspirations in your children. Let them be aspiring to do things. And nothing is casting, so they are still children. So an aspiration a child has now may change in 5 years' time, may change in 10 years' time. There's nothing wrong with that, because I talked about adaptability. We're in a world that keeps on changing. But let them have a purpose, let them have a focus, let them know where they are going. You understand? You can't see where you are going yet, but you want to the vision, have a way in which there's kind of direction. Encourage role models, online communities, and tech clubs. And don't underestimate the power of encouragement. You know, try. Children thrive when they are encouraged. You know, they've been working on a project that's taking them so long. You support it. You trust them. You encourage them. Do they feel seen? Do you showcase it? Sometimes when I miss somebody, I share it. I let them in the same thing you are doing for your colleague and for your children. Let your children be proud of your children. Let them, they thrive when you are proud of them. They thrive when they are supported. They thrive when they are trusted, not when you second guess them all the time. So because STEM is fueled more by confidence than talent. So some practical steps, ask your children what they are curious about. You know, maybe give them some kind of STEM activity every week. Encourage questions. It's not enough. How is your work? Fine. How is everything? Fine. Ask them questions and let them ask you questions too. And celebrate effort, not just perfection. Because all these are small, small steps that make them become the creators, the thinkers that we actually need them to be. And, have projects, mini projects, and make sure that screen time is purposeful. And, work with your children, collaborate. Have many years in which to collaborate with them. And we are still trying to make them know it, so the future belongs to those who are prepared. Children are not inheriting the future, they are shaping it. So basically, I think I've tried to provide a foundation. I believe that the Oracle, Mr. Uwaje, and the other speakers will also talk about different aspects of being STEM-ready children for parents, and I look forward to hearing from them. Basically, these are my own ideas, and also I should share some of them from my own experience of working with different colleagues, which I believe we should encourage our children if we want them to compete, because our aim at the end of the day is I want our children to be the best that they can be. Instead, in any field with a good STEM background, you understand? And that's you are from Nigeria, you are from Africa, should not put you at a disadvantage. Yes, I'm not talking about challenges because I do not want to, let us have any excuses for not doing what we need to do or what we can do. We are not perfect. We are not where we should. We can be in everything, but we have enough to start. We have enough to keep pushing. We have enough to keep doing something positive, and we have enough to actually build that foundation. So, thank you very much for this opportunity to share my ideas. I look forward to listening to the rest of the webinar. Thank you very much.
Ma, you're muted.
Thank you so much. So I think we are going to be dropping our questions in the chat room so that maybe later we can attend to it. We're going to have our next speaker to come on board, Mrs. Damilola Anwo-Ade. Please, can we have a profile? Thank you.
Damilola Anwo-Ade, Managing Partner, Sprout Digital Development Limited, founder of Code IT. Damilola Anwo-Ade is an ICT expert with strong global project and training experience, working with organizations like Intel, the International Trade Center, and MultiChoice. She founded Code IT to promote digital and coding skills among young Nigerians, especially girls. A champion for women in tech, she was selected as a Tech Women Representative to Silicon Valley in 2017 and received presidential recognition in 2018 for her contributions to empowering girls through technology.
You have the floor, ma.
Oh, good day, everyone. It's great to be here today. I'm totally looking forward to this interactive session together. I just want to do a quick, quick room check. How many of us are parents over here with children that are above the ages of 5? And if you are, just, do a thumbs up or whatever it is, or give me one of those emojis before we get started. Awesome. How many of us are Absolutely. Thank you. That's really great. It's great to know that we have quite a number of parents in the room. My fellow colleague, doctor, has spoken about the importance of parents when it comes to STEM. And so I want to divert a little bit to balance it off a bit by having a conversation around everything that is happening around parents, our kids' safety online, and ensuring that we have a fuller picture. And let me give you some background. I've run a coding camp for quite some years, and I've always done digital transformation for quite some time. And I learned that kids assimilate from the ages of 4. For even earlier, they understand what you're trying to teach them. If I give the same curriculum to a child, I'll give to an adult our age, you will see that the child will quickly pick up on the web development, the AI tools, everything from 3, 4 years old upwards. I've had a child build a website at 4 years old. But if I give that same curriculum to an adult, you know us, we have quite a number of things in our heads as we're trying to juggle, adulthood. And although we do, and absolutely we intention, and I needed to give you that background because I want you to understand how important it is for our kids, to tap onto STEM and not just tap onto it, but embed it into everyday living as we know it. It's important for them to keep learning. It's important for them to evolve. It's important for them not to be left behind all the technologies that is happening. But I also know that there's a fear that comes with everything happening as well, having our kids online, AI safety, for young people and all that. And I think it's important to balance it. So I am and will be a STEM at an early age advocate. But I also want us to unbottle what that means for us as parents, especially in the light of everything happening online. Now, this was not the presentation I thought I was going to have today, but it's been heavy on my mind, and I didn't want to not have that conversation with like minds, parents, IT professionals, STEM enthusiasts that were in the room today. And I'm going to give an example of why this conversation came up. I wish I could play the Instagram video. It was about, and I don't know how many of us saw it, about the conversation about a child that killed himself because AI had suggested suicide over 300 times or something like that, whereas the child only mentioned it a few times in his chats. And he had gotten so engrossed in using AI, typing and giving his thoughts to AI. And the parents witnessed and did state in when they were giving a presentation that, they saw that child withdraw from, everyday life, from the engagement, the activities to being very closed. Now, again, I want you to understand that we're all, and I will forever be, an advocate of STEM. But these are the true fears that come when I speak to parents that, register your child for coding. Parents that are not STEM enthusiasts, they're not IT professionals, a lot of them still have these fears. And I was hoping that we could unbottle that together today in our discussion, since our conversation is important to getting more kids in STEM. And I hope that's okay. To be future forward, we need to not run away from the reality of what's going on online and what's going on with technology, but be able to handle it heads on and say, what can we do? How can we position our kids for success without necessarily losing them to depression, without necessarily losing them to how fast-paced the digital world currently is? And I'm hoping that you will help me do that as we unbottle this conversation together. And so I've started with the background of why this thought has been so pressing when I think about all the children I've trained, all the people that I still want to continue to train, the position I know that our children, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa, need to be when it comes to being innovators, like Dr. rightly said earlier. We want them there. We want them at the forefront of innovation, not just our boys, but our girls as well. But I've also seen that parents sincerely struggle with the reality of what goes on digitally and how to get their kids learning without necessarily getting swamped or getting overwhelmed by the technology. And so I'm hoping to prefer solutions today. And I'm also hoping to help you identify what the issues are. So let me start with the issues before I start with what we can do. And then I'm also going to look at what we can do as parents and what we can do as a country. And so what are the risks when we talk about STEM, when we talk about online safety, especially because I'm going to be talking more about online safety and how our kids currently learn. And also because I don't think we can talk about STEM without talking about digital and the digital space and the internet and the online space. And especially, I want to focus on the online space and how that influences what we're trying to do here with STEM for our kids. And so there are like 5 things we look at when we're talking about the kids struggling with technology, especially around online safety. One of them is that we look at what we call cyberbullying, where somebody else can harass your child and that can lead to anxiety, lead to depression, lead to low self-esteem. This person doesn't have to be another child. It can be anybody at all. The second thing we look at is our kids' exposure to harmful content. And that is content that you don't want them seeing, explicit content, violent content, content that we think can again affect their emotional well-being. Content that may not be age appropriate for their age. Another thing we look at is online predators. Our kids being exposed to people that are literally online to cause harm. Oh, will you meet me here? Give me your parents' account details, etc. Breach of contracts. Do our kids know? Do our children know when they're going to be breaching, that personal data and your personal data as a family by sharing compromising information that they shouldn't be sharing? And I have a question for you. I know that all of us see these things and we recognize them, and we recognize that the internet is one of the biggest learning factors right now for not just young people, but for everybody, not just children, but for everybody. How do we keep them safe? How do we currently keep them safe? Do your children have tablets? Do your children have mobile phones? At what age do you release these things to them? As much as we want them to be learning using YouTube Kids and all these other things, what has been your framework of going to computer classes or learning STEM in other ways? Robotics classes online, and then children don't stick to the robotic class and they find themselves on the internet. I remember hearing a conversation about a lady that said her child was constantly, and as much as the school needed it, the school said this is the way we learn. The school needed it, to structure their learning, but after a while they realized the child wasn't learning at all, and so she shipped the child off back to Nigeria into one boarding school that does not do, internet and all these other communications. So what framework, what's safe, what's not safe, what's too much, what is too much too early? And does access to the internet necessarily mean increased STEM learning? Does it actually mean that our children will be better in STEM because they have more access to the internet? I feel like until we start to unbottle some of these conversations, we will continue to walk outside. We can do better, especially as parents. I'm such a huge advocate for STEM, always will be, but I'm beginning to wonder, is it too much too early? And if it's too much too early, what are the frameworks we can put in place? Is that framework the responsibility of the country, or is it the responsibility of parents? And so I want to take us back to, and my answer is very simple. It's the responsibility of all of us to build inquisitive, curious-minded, like Dr. Jide always said, curious-minded individuals, but also creating some safety nets for our kids in such a technology digitally driven age. And I hope some of you agree with me. I hope I'm not touching too many points here, but I'm really hoping to see, feedback in the group. What's too much? What is too much too early? Especially when we're thinking about the number one way people currently learn outside of the school system is the internet. And we do want our kids learning and learning quickly, but what is the framework that we can use so that they are not prone to some of these online risks? So do tell me in the comment section, for some of you that have kids, what are you doing? Like I said, this is going to be an interactive session. I want to learn from you, and I want to be able to confidently tell my parents next time they come and say, hey, I want our kids to do STEM class, but I don't want them to do an online class because I'm not sure about the safety. I want to be able to confidently say, do you know what? We had a discussion with other parents that are passionate about them doing robotics, passionate about them learning different fields of STEM and joining some of these online classes. And this was some of the solutions we came up with. But these are some of the ones. So please, if you have any idea in the comment section, please post it and I will share it with everyone. Or you can raise your hand and I will definitely give you an opportunity to be a part of the conversation. And so when I thought about it, and I thought about how some countries were taking huge steps to ensuring that children are safe, I was asking myself as a parent, as a trainer, as a digital transformation advocate, as a STEM for Girls advocate, what can I do? And so one of the ones that I clearly identified is that we are all responsible for monitoring our children's online safety. It's not something we can outsource. It's not something we can say, hey, they're in an online class to learn, robotics, and so it doesn't matter what they're doing. It's something that you need to be able to have ways of checking up with them. And it's great to know that there are lots of technology advancement that can help you do that, even if you're giving your child a mobile phone, that you can keep an eye on their online activities and you can learn to have open conversations with them about what online safety needs to be, and so that they know when they're stepping out of the boundary and they know that they can be open with you about it. The second one is that as much as we do want them learning with robotics, we do want them learning with their computers, we also need to also be okay with setting boundaries. It doesn't mean that they should have access to a mobile phone or a computer 24/7. What I advocate for all the time is productive access. Productive, the key word there is productive, not just access because you know what, it's in vogue, it's STEM, it's one of those things that is going to set your path up career-wise. When you get older, you can earn good money from it. No, it needs to be productive access and it needs to be under a controlled environment, which brings me to my next point. Use your parental controls. Use your restrictions on apps. If you don't know how to use it, Google it. We've had a lot of cases where kids are wandering off into platforms that they shouldn't be wandering onto, all in the name of, I'm trying to read online, I'm trying to study how to do my robotics assignment. And it's okay for them to want to do that. But we can't outsource, like I said, our responsibility as parents for our kids. We want them learning instead, but we want healthy children as well. We want children that are emotionally sound and not emotionally depressed or emotional well-being is jeopardized because we gave them too much access too early. Do we need them to have access? Absolutely. But there's something like too much too early. And I'm going to ask us parents a question. And please, I don't want to sound like I'm lecturing because really I'm not lecturing you. It's just been heavy on my mind for quite a while. And the question is, will you give your 3-year-old a car to drive? Will you put, a car in the hands of your 3-year-old son or daughter or 18-year-old? And even when you want to teach them to drive, do you do it under a controlled environment with you sitting by the side, watching what they're doing? Even when they're like 16, 17, 18, depending on which country you're in, how do you give them access? Access needs to be controlled. Children, I love what this person said, Mr. Bamidele and the group said, thank you for the insight. I totally, completely agree with your thoughts. For me, general framework is the responsibility of relevant government authorities. But the buck stops with the parents. Parents are responsible. Herein lies the point that parents too need to be digitally aware enough to guide their children and words. I totally agree, totally. I've seen so many times that parents, there are two things, and I don't always blame parents. There's the knowledge bit of it, like Mr. Bamidele said, where parents also really truly don't know how to set those parental guidelines, how to monitor without being too aggressive. But I don't mind if I'm too aggressive. I just need my child monitored, basically, or anybody that does any one of the programs. Sometimes parents really don't know. But so there's usually two things. It's either they don't know or they don't see the importance of. But the statistics are rolling out in so many countries around level of depression rising among children, around so many issues around mental health that I think it's important for us to no longer say we don't know, but get to truly know and understand. And I'm really grateful that we have tools like Google, where you can literally Google how to set a parental control for my child's phone on her Android device, and you will get a video tutorial on how to do that. Another thing we can do is educate our children about online safety. It's actually not too early to educate at any age. I prefer that as long as the child can, listen, I start talking about it. Why did you touch mom's phone? If you're touching my phone, I want to see where you're going to. You're not allowed to go here. You're not allowed to send pictures. So I start having that conversation the moment that they can understand me. And so I have 3-year-old daughters, and I've realized that I've already started having those safety conversations, because before I, turn, anybody knows kids at that age, they want to be taking pictures, and before you know it, they send the pictures to whatever group. I remember one of my close friends, her daughter sent over 100 pictures of herself to a medical group. And it wasn't a Nigerian medical group, it was Nigerians around the world medical professional group. And everybody was calling her, everywhere, that, oh, your daughter just did this, blah, blah, please, can you take it down, and all that. So just understanding that they are already going to be really interested, because we are on our phones and are imitating our habits. But it's also important for us to be guided and to guide them about online safety, and to understand what we are guiding them from, which is why I talked about the 5 things over there: the online predators, the addictions. Oh, I didn't talk about addictions to devices and screen time. And I remember I was also struggling with addiction to screen time when my daughter was 2, and I noticed that I was just in one of them. And so I had to now start saying, do you know what? For the entire week, no screens. And if you give them the screen time, it's 30 minutes. But guess what? They still learn how to use the computer with me, but it's guided, supervised practice. And I think it's important for us to know that some of these things, like, Mr. Bamidele, like they agreed, cannot be outsourced. You want to teach them STEM, you want to teach them, computers, robotics, whatever it is. Please, we also need to recognize that there's still a level of control, and it needs to be under a controlled environment, especially if we're using online resources. Then, of course, I think we should also, and this is why I really like some of the STEM activities out there. There are a lot of offline STEM activities that we can actually embed our children in. Everything doesn't need to be online. There are a lot of offline STEM activities. There's robotics, there's engineering that you can do with blogs. There's so many STEM activities that you can use to arouse creativity, arouse it. And some of them, you don't even have to pay for it. Just taking them to your car engine and opening it up and saying, do you know what this is? You can Google it, but not allowing them to look at Google. There are so many creative options to teaching them engineering, to encouraging that curiosity that, the speaker just before me had mentioned. And I'm hoping that, after this session, that we creatively think about it. This session is not meant to make you think and worry about the technology. It's meant for us to realize what the risks are, but still find ways to path our way forward, so that our kids don't suffer from parents that are worried and anxious about what technology can do, but they enjoy from having informed parents that can make informed decisions about their safety, as well as pushing them and propelling them into amazing, beneficial for not just themselves, but for their country's STEM careers. And I'm hoping that this can do that. At a national level, we've seen countries like Australia do a social media ban, where they have said no to any kind of social media platform for children under 16. I don't know if anybody here agrees with that. How old do you think it's safe for your child to be online? Can you put it in the comment section, please? I really want to hear from you. How old do you think is safe for your child to be online? Anybody, somebody? I'm still waiting for the comments to drop in. So somebody said 18, okay.
I don't have children, no. I have grandchildren and they're not around.
That's okay as well, but you can still have an opinion about what age is
I
good.
can't blame their parents, so let them take their own children. I've done my own duty.
So how old is safe for those of us that don't have grandchildren? How old is an ideal age for them? And not online, specifically social media platforms, because that's what I'm now talking about. How old is, say, Australia did a social media ban, not an online ban, a social media ban. Recording in progress. Somebody said after secondary school, 6 years with guidance. Okay. And
No,
then somebody said
SS1 is ideal. SS1 is ideal. SS1,
SS1.
not secondary one.
SS1 is ideal, absolutely. And I think, we should actually take from what our grandpa in the room said when he said, I don't have children, but I think the parents need to decide. And that's what we're seeing happen. Some countries have still left it to the parents to decide. Because some countries, as I see, we see an increase in our mental health. And so we are going to set it as a country at 16, and then Denmark sets it as a country restriction at 15. The UK doesn't particularly have one, but they do have companies increasing their protection around children, structure so that children are not violated online. I think, but the important thing to note is what our grandpa said when he said that it's really up to us parents to decide. And to decide what's too much, what's too little. And I think in most cases, parents decide based on, I really want them to learn how to do STEM. But I think you should unbox that a little bit to having some other factors that come into your decision. The ability to learn STEM doesn't need to always be online. Or on social media platforms, the ability to learn STEM as well needs to be under a controlled environment if they're going to be online. And so it's how much time you also have for that kind of supervision, or any one of the, I call them stakeholders, people that literally gave birth to them and have an investment in making sure the kids are properly raised. I think it shouldn't just be dependent on yes, we do want them to learn, absolutely, but you should also weigh how much supervised time and guided time can you give as a parent. And don't think anything is too little. Even if it's 30 minutes, it's fine. As long as you're balancing it off with very encouraging, exciting offline activities that encourage them to learn what they need to learn in STEM. And so before I round up, I don't know how many seconds I have left. I do also want to talk about the importance of the male figures. And this is because I talk about digital transformation and having more girls in STEM, and I cannot leave a conversation without passionately speaking to it. We have seen an increase in the number of girls that go for STEM careers, but I do not think that increase is enough. And I'm going to tell you why. One of them is that we've seen an increase in the number of girls that say, yes, I want to study science, engineering, and maths. And I think that's great for somebody that has been talking about this and training girls in digital transformation, so many different projects for at least 20 years. I think it's fantastic. But I also see that number also drops once a woman gets married in her ability to engage at productive work. It also drops with the number of children she has. I've seen declines happen at every stage. Decline happens at university stage, even though they're excited about it in secondary school. The statistics have shown decline happens as well as university, and decline happens as well, when the courses become too tough and they can't cope. Decline happens as well when they're trying to get a job. But one of the things that I've learned from my personal journey and from what I've seen is that we fathers have the biggest role and brothers have the biggest role to play, and sometimes even more than the women. And I'm going to give you my personal example. I had a brother that read computer science. And so my brother was an advocate towards me doing so many things. I learned to play basketball for my school team. I played for my university team. I played for competitions. I even played for NYSC. And it wasn't because I was particular, but because he egged me on at every instance. The law of this, the law of that. He's literally finding creative ways to teach me some of those physics laws. And so it was a huge factor. And I say today, almost every opportunity I get when I talk about women in STEM, it was a huge factor to ensuring that I continued. When I had my kids and I couldn't get back to work, he said, you know what, I'm going to handle the organization for you so that you can actually breathe. It was a huge factor. Some of us may not, as fathers and as brothers or as parents, be able to play a practical role like my brother did. But the statistics have shown that when fathers encourage, it makes a huge difference to our girls' confidence to seeing that they can actually take up STEM careers. And so I'm hoping to end on a very positive note today where I say, fathers, do more speaking, do more encouragement, do more practicals if you can. The future of women in STEM depends on it. And why is this future of women in STEM so important to us? It's because there's a lot of innovation that can't happen if it's happening from a one-sided perspective. I feel it's not to cause any kind of gender bias on any side, whether male or female. It's to cause a synergy that is absolutely necessary when it comes to innovation. We need to see women's perspectives as much as men. I think we'll be better innovators, we'll be better creators, we'll be better STEM professionals when we have more women giving that feedback, giving insights, aiding the environment in which these things thrive. And so I'm hoping that as I end this conversation today, two things were key to me when I started to speak. And it is completely off the slides I presented. That's why I prepared, and that's why I didn't talk about my slides. But it was completely led by a lot of the conversations that we're still having. One around, STEM and how do we move forward, encourage our kids in the current environment of AI, of social media, of digital media, of learning online. They are not, and especially because they are not harmful to us if they are controlled. They're going to be harmful when we don't step in and do our own bits. There are certain things that technology can't do for us. It's our responsibility to do that. And it's also our responsibility as parents to recognize that there's a need. I remember there was a coding program, and I'll end with this, that I had in a particular class. It was in the web development class. I don't know what happened to me that year. A lot of parents would walk in and say, I want to register my son. I'm like, what is your daughter doing this holiday? And it got to a point where we had a class that had only one boy and one girl. I thought that was super aggressive, but I thought it was also important because every time I asked them, what are your parents doing this summer? What are your kids doing during the holidays? They would tell me, oh, my daughter is going to learn ballet. My daughter is going to learn how to cook so she can cook for her husband. My daughter is going to learn how to sew. But all of them are contributions to society, whether it is STEM or it is cooking, it is whatever it is. But also recognize that we still have a deficit that we're trying to clear up when it comes to women in STEM. I hope this was useful to someone, and thank you for just listening to me. Just have a conversation about some of the pressing issues I see as we continue to encourage parents in a digitally driven world, and of course, try to set our children up for success, for international success. Thank you so much. Take care and God bless.
Okay, that can we give a clap? Yeah, a digital clap to Mrs. Damilola and Uwaje. That was awesome. Very insightful. Yeah, yes, that is digital. Thank you so much, Ma. In the course of the webinar, I think we have some people that came in. I quickly want to acknowledge and appreciate them before we go to our special guest speaker. So I have Dr. Faponda. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mrs. Bamidele, thank you, Ma. My mommy, God bless you, Ma.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Yes. I'm enjoying it.
Thank you, Ma. This is Rebecca Olatayo. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Chinemie, thank you. Damilola Bishi, thank you. Eroluwabami Kende Fatima, thank you. Mrs. Fentola Fred, thank you. Mrs. Bemika Debolarinwa, that was awesome. She also had something close to this yesterday. That was awesome. Thank you, Ma. Happiness, Michael Onoa, thank you. Mbonu Yetundelamide, thank you. Isabella, thank you. Modishola, thank you. Jimo, thank you. Samuel Fadipe, thank you. Mr. Additional, my new chairman, NCS Lagos, thank you for coming. God bless you. I think this is Nilola. Mrs. Nilola, I'm sure. Secure of solutions. Thank you for coming.
Well done, Mrs. Omojola, for this great initiative.
Thank
Kudos.
you. Shola Doye, thank you. Soshi Amako, thank you. Taiwo-Ade, thank you so much for coming and for joining this course. So quickly, we'll go to our next speaker. This is a giant of Africa. When we say IT Oracle of Africa. Sorry, I will not be able to play the video, but let me just quickly do a wrap up of his profile. Mr. Chris.
Time to echo for
Mr. Chris Uwaje FNCS, known as the Oracle of the Nigerian IT industry, led the development of Nigeria's national IT policy. A former D-Link West Africa Regional Director and 2008 IT Personality of the Year, he is a respected global ICT speaker and youth empowerment advocate. An expert in software design, IT strategy, and e-government, he has served as president of the Global Network for Cyber Solutions, past president of ITAN, and first vice president of ICEPON. A fellow of NCS, he has contributed to key national ICT committees and is widely known for his influential work in technology and cybersecurity.
Thank you. Can we have a digital clap for our IT Oracle, IT Africa Oracle? Yes. Thank you, sir, for coming. I'm so blessed for having you this morning. It's been a wonderful one, sir.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you for this rare opportunity to have a little talk after some eminent personalities have spoken, and I'm so delighted for the insightful contribution from my very good friend of long-time journey, Mr. Jide, and of course Funmilola, and I want to believe Damilola also, who have blown the top, and having very erudite great minds on the platform, such as Akin Fakunda, a Prof Emeritus that is desirable of all time, whose contribution contributes a lot of milestones to what we are doing today. I recognize also my very good friend, Dr. Bayero, who has led the space of digital streaming and video technology on the knowledge realm. So to start with, I really don't know how to interrogate the subject, because it's such a deep, multidimensional landscape. You're talking about society, you're talking about children, you're talking about parents. And of course, this multidimensional aspect constitutes to the past, the present, and for me, the future. Those are the landscape on which I want to interrogate. They are the intersections that make us thrive, that drives innovation, and of course that ensure that we continue to aspire for the new dynamics. I have sent a slide, just a 3-page slide. Can you please put up my slide so that we can interrogate this situation?
Okay, sir.
Very insightful. Yeah, please put up the slide so I can speak to the slide. And of course, I want to believe that I will need some responses from the great minds in the house. Very good friend Fakunda, who's led this multidimensional interrogation in the past. And we want to believe that we want to look at the intersection from the point of view of emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence, and super artificial intelligence, which I call the past, present, the present, and of course the future of what is going to happen. So we're talking about the origin of man, which is the past, present, and we're talking about the present, which is we're interrogating, and we're talking about the future. Because when we face the fact, the subject of AI dates back to 1956. That, to my little calculation, is about 69 years ago. All right? A lot of us probably were not living at that time. And of course, when you fast forward to 69 years in the front, a lot of us might not be here. So it's a new world. So I want to believe that we are looking at the issue of, let me have the first slide, please. We are looking at the issue that interrogates, okay, let me just scope up. Can I have the first slide, the first one? First one, you are giving me the last slide. You are giving me the last slide. I want the first slide, please. Okay, so here we have, the focus is really about AI and humanity, looking at the past, the present, and the future. And of course, at the center of this multidimensional interrogation is the children and the future of AI, the intergenerational knowledge research, how weaponization of data, ideas, the power of computational machinery. You're looking at the emergence of artificial intelligence, robotics, engineering, and harvesting IP methods and tools that foster mathematical optimization. You're looking at neural networks, search engines, machine society, and of course the possibility of more economic and social disruption, which of course we are facing. The M2s and of course related fields are all there. And of course, you looking at the psychological, sociological, physiological, linguistic, smart cities aspect, new world, broadband, IoT, blockchain, 3D, printing, digital games, virtual reality, and many more. Next slide. But when you look at the convergence of this big subject as we are, it now invites us into the beginning to state that there was life. And that was life. That light is Africa. And Africa remains the acclaimed origin and the lightning rod of human life. Toolmaking, fire technology, which of course constitutes fundamental technology framework for human existence and civilizations, came out of Africa. Therefore, Africa is the cradle of civilization and calculus for STEM. And this is our story. Once upon a time, Africa showed and taught the world how to think, count, create, use technology, and Africa sparked two stones to create fire, which formed the source and the energy applied to the advancement of human civilization and various economic models and development processes that we still have and use today. So AI is not new. Available research records that the sources from the several internet resources show that Africa has the world's largest record of human technological achievement. For example, the oldest stone tools in the world have been found in countries like Tanzania, East Africa, and also there are other evidences for tool production and by human rights and ancestors found, of course, in the West African cave. Needless to state that the oldest human skull today that is alive about 1.2 million years ago is found in the museum in Tanzania. And verified records further reveal that African civilization stands out as the origin of technology to the world. Great achievements in science and technology were first developed in ancient Africa. They include concepts of mathematics, counting methods, astronomy, mythology, and tools, architecture, engineering, medicine, navigation, and of course many more. Today, the miracle of the Pyramid of Egypt still stands magnificently as one of the wonders of the world. We have seen all those things. Now, let us not be deceived by artificial intelligence. For me, artificial intelligence does not fall out of the sky. It is rooted in human nature, rooted in our DNA, in our emotional intelligence, which of course are enclaved and wrapped up in data and algorithms that transport the meaning and concept, for behavioral science performances. I want to believe that parents are here. And of course, the fears have been eliminated that technology is taking over the world. I want to believe that really technology itself is driven and dependent on humanity. Retooling education and of course to establish special AI development campuses nationwide will probably be one of the issues of building a capacity of about 1 million developers and innovators in country, which should be, for me, the minimum, because the competitive edge in the future is more fearsome. In recommendation, just as a simple analogy, we need to believe that developing digitized local languages, all the English grammar that we have spoken here today, which are of course very substantial from Jide, Damilola, Ade, and the rest of them, are very qualitative. But hey, who are we talking to? We should be talking to our local people in our local languages. The Chinese does not speak to you in English unless when it's important. They speak to you in Chinese language. We want to believe that we need to probably leverage on the advantage of AI development into humanoid robots in critical areas of education nationwide. We have the wherewithal to be able to do this. Indeed, the intersection of the crisis we face in Nigeria can be resolved by storytelling. The National Office of Orientation, the National Orientation Agency has a big role to play in ensuring that we can use technology by transforming the imagery of hate, ensuring that we can use this advantage to create love, to create harmony, to redesign the narrative that sets us apart. So empowering the National Orientation Agency to prepare the nation for the emergence of super intelligence, artificial intelligence, by applying digital AI storytelling concepts and strategies for national reconditioning have become imperative. And I believe that the agency is listening and working on this. We need to pursue the mission of enthroning a woman president for reconditioning the Nigerian vision and aspiration to digital prominence. Why a woman president? A woman president is necessary to navigate the future of AI because they harbor, and science has shown, they harbor abundance emotional intelligence that drives artificial intelligence, that bats, of course, in the future, the super artificial intelligence, SAI. We need to promote AI digital storytelling culture as a strategic tool to recondition the minds and, of course, the knowledge base of Nigerian youths. We see the youths we don't understand. And I tell you what, the future world is going to be ruled by the youths. It's not going to be a misnomer to have a 19-year-old boy becoming a president in any part of the world, or a 21-year-old girl becoming a president in any part of the world, probably in the next 50, 60, 100 years. It's not going to be magic because we're talking about prime intelligence. There are kids that are graduating PhD in Europe now at the age of 11, 12, 13 with a PhD. I'm talking about PhD in neurosciences, you're talking about PhD in artificial intelligence. So you can see that the world is changing. So age really doesn't matter. Age is catapultal. So it's not going to be the prerogative of man or woman to be at the leadership, but it has shown women have the resilience and the empathy that is needed, for future aspiration of harmony in the world. We need to promote an AI storytelling for all these reasons as strategic tool, and the kids are there to be able to see, and the parents should know that intelligence and education has changed. The confluence of the conflict that we have between the relationship of parents and the youth is this two-dimensional aspect of what the kids know internally and what they see in the world and what the parents are telling them. So they have now the innate right through their emotional intelligence to navigate their own future, saying, I have my future in my hands. Was that not all? Yes, parents' guidance are there. The motivation are there. But most important is the parents must believe in the vision of the kid. They have something inside them that need to be empowered. They have something inside them that need to be encouraged. They have something inside them that they need to be trusted while they lead the way. So, in closing, retraining all teachers in all educational institutions nationwide on the design, use, and application and development of AI-based STEM as a fundamental and critical part of our national education ecosystem becomes one of the pillars for survivability of the Nigerian state. I want to thank you all, and I'm listening for your question. God bless you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Our IT Africa Oracle. That was very awesome and insightful. Thank you, sir. I know we have questions now. Okay, I hope we have dropped our questions on the chat box. We have Dr. Elechuku. I think I'm saying a name now. Is she around? Okay.
Yeah, that is Adiola's iPad.
I didn't know, sis. Thank you, ma. Thank you. That's our first president of Mali. Thank you, ma.
Thank you very much. It's been an interesting session so far.
Thank you. I appreciate it, ma.
So,
thank you, ma. Yes, maybe you can take it up and add your own contribution for like maybe a minute, since we don't have questions in the chat box.
Yeah, I actually posted one or two things in the chat.
Okay.
I said that actually the responsibility and the authority of how early and how much of AI our children get into rests squarely on the shoulders of parents. But parents also need to be informed, they need to be educated in order to know what they want their children to get engaged in. And this kind of webinar comes in very useful in terms of getting parents informed. But I think maybe you also want to take this a step higher, not just focusing on what's being discussed here, but also have a forum for parents to actually introduce them to AI, the benefits, and some internet stuff that may be beneficial to them and make them begin to appreciate the need for their children to get involved with AI and STEM courses and all that kind of stuff. Because with this platform now, you're dealing with probably informed parents. But there are so many parents out there who don't even know anything about computing, about internet, about social media and stuff like that, except to go to YouTube and listen to all the stuff on YouTube. There are so many things one can learn, so many apps one can engage with in the use of software that helps to make our children become more versatile at even an early age. Like Professor Fakunda said, I don't have small kids now. I just have grandchildren. And my granddaughter is getting quite savvy with the use of computer stuff. She'll grab her grandfather's iPhone. Before you know it, even without knowing the password, she's already into the system. So she's just 3 years. Oh, okay, now she's 4 years. So you can imagine that. So parents also need to be able to know how to set the controls like you were talking about. And I think a webinar in that direction could also go a long way in also helping the people. I want to congratulate you so far. You've done so well. And I'm impressed with the participation also on this particular webinar. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you, ma. I think we have Dr. Fakunda raises his hand.
Yes. Yes, I don't feel happy at all. Personal note. The level of lethargy and numbness of Nigerians is just legendary. I have a school. I have at least 40 graduate staff. I posted this information to the platform for them to participate. Not one has showed up. I don't understand. I have over almost 300 parents. I posted the information 2 days ago, this morning, into the platform. Not one of them has shown up. And this is not, I've been saying this thing to my staff. They want to just money to eat. They're not interested they're not curious to learn anything new. A year ago, I was to set up Center for AI and Robotics in my school. I asked them to pay 10,000 commitment, only 3 paid. I don't understand what is wrong with us. Even though, look, this is not just a technical meeting, even political meeting, because I'm involved in politics. You call meeting, people are not interested. I was even telling Funmilola this morning that when he said he has only 100 participants, I said, would there be space? Can we not open YouTube channel for people to come in? See, now we are just about 30. So I don't know what to do to awaken Nigerian knowledge. We are so lethargic and lack of curiosity. These are my staff that I pay. I don't owe them. I've just even increased their salary, if I may say positively. So they have no grievance at all. They all signed letter thanking me for adjusting their salary just this last month. I told them, look, you have to acquire new skills. Your student will come and graduate software engineering. You are still teaching civics on the board for 20 years. Don't you like progress? I talk and talk and talk. I've failed. I don't understand. This lady, we proposed a program for students to hold, I think, last 3-4 weeks. To even get 10 students to pay, we have to postpone to January. I don't know what others have experience. Maybe I have some witchcraft that's following me. I don't know.
No worries, I'll keep pushing, sir.
Maybe I witchcraft.
Thank you, sir.
I need to be delivered for the witchcraft. People don't respond to my issues.
No problem.
I've just planned a magazine now, 12-month edition magazine. I use AI. Everything is ready. Will people read it? I don't know.
Thank you, sir. We'll work on that, sir. We'll keep advocating for people to be part of all of this that we are doing. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate, sir. Can we have Mrs. Bamidele Shibo, IPP Naiwis President? Thank you, ma'am. Can you have a moment with us, ma'am?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Omojola. It's very insightful. Thank you so much for all the people that have spoken before me. I just typed something into the chat box, and it reads, "Thank you, sir, Dr. Chris, for your presentation. I agree with your conclusion on the re-engineering of the whole of our polity to become competitive in the wider world. How do we get the government to be a leading light in this direction? Knowing what we all know about us Nigerians." And before I finished typing, Dr. Fakunda just said lethargy. So I went, exactly, sir. The lethargy is second to none. So for me, that is something that needs to be tackled. That's lethargy are about the lack of hunger to pick up skills and to do other things. If I'm allowed to say so, at 60 plus, I can't stop learning. So I don't know what one needs to do to get other people on that kind of mindset. And
I'm 70 plus. I'm 70 plus and I'm
still learning, so I don't know. And that's my question to the House. What can we do as a group of people? Because it's obvious that the 30 of us, 33 here, are keen learners. Thank you. Thank you for the privilege to attend and to speak.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think Mr. Jide, are you still online? Do you want to answer this, or Mr. Chris Uwaje? Can you speak to this, sir?
Well, I'm still online. Let me.
Okay.
I can wait
Yes, sir.
for Mr. Uwaje to say his one. Mr. Uwaje.
Mr. Jide, go first. While we allow the IT oracle to speak to you.
Okay. The country of Apple has problem did not start today. I have been in the politics because of Apple now. Have this said, maybe he has forgotten. I think it had to do with long time ago, schools computer club. I mean, this the NCS school competition. I think you are the one handling Abuja at that time.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
And we saw you not reporting about how the country can be wanted. You know, even supportive, and you also looking for support. We are not. So I mean, that's the situation we find ourselves. It's not a new thing. I don't know. It's I think that maybe some people just have to be the ones that will make the sacrifice, unfortunately. And try to see if incentivizing people. Because you cannot depend on their moral or their normal, and they should want to learn. I mean, because that is what we are trying to say now, they should desire to learn. But some people just don't desire to learn. They are, like you said, they are just after money. They are just after what concerns them immediately. They don't think about the future. I don't want to judge anybody. Everybody has their own challenges. But generally, I think that what we try to do that's the reality, and then find ways of meeting them at where they are and incentivizing them in a way. I don't want to judge anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chris, in 1 minute, sir.
Thank you very much. I think if you can hear me, everybody has spoken well about when you look at the dynamics, what we are experiencing, and it's not only here, but it's in all parts of the world. It is a data conflict. And why is everybody leaving oil and gold and going to data? Because that is the future power. So you have this conflicting dimension that's a multiple ripple, that it is beyond the management of the leadership at now, because at the speed of what the data is moving, compared with the speed of intervention of analog leadership, creates more layers of conflict that cannot resolve that is. It's like you see the crisis in a village where the fire is raving from the farm, and see everybody runs. Who do you see on the front? You see the youths on the front. What do you see at the back? You see the oldies at the back because they lack the strength and agility to be able to move. Analyze within the concept of data. So you should have an equilibrium, okay? An equilibrium or a bridge, a scarf holding between those who are driving the momentum in the front and those who are the back, so that you can create that solidity. So when you look at the liturgy, it's like that bridge is broken. Say to your tent, O Israel. That's what I see that is happening. So there has to be a galvanized momentum of how we can create a solidified bridge between society realms of data, kids, human beings, and articles here and there, to be able to ensure that. But who does that? Now, it's a very deep question. Funmilola is there, it's been there for quite a long time. Jide is there for quite a long time. We have advocated for quite a long time that the power of conquering the technological landscape for Nigeria and by extension for Africa does not lie in hardware. It lies in software. True. For more than 25 years, we have developed a national software legislation that can be recited to drive this society, and it has been neglected. We have developed an e-government retooling solution that can be done, because people don't understand the future. And that's the conflict we have ourselves. The IT professionals are there, but they are not in governance. Faculty that shouldn't be at the school, faculty that should have been, at e-government center delivering, a sort of a solution on how software can galvanize engineering, construction, education, finance, and everything together. He's not there. We've advocated this, a lot of them, they are not there. We created NIDA through the power of knowledge and the pen. We created the Ministry of Contact through the power of knowledge and pen. Where are those who are driving it are left outside the governance of that institution? So you cannot eat your cake and have it at the same time. There is a data chaos within the knowledge realm. There's data chaos within the design realm. There's a data chaos between the performance realm and, of course, the consumer realm. So when you have data chaos all around you, you should not be aware that there's lethargy.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It is broken. So, but we shouldn't lose hope. I think that is the core
yes,
aspect.
I'm in support
we
of
shouldn't
that,
lose hope. And that is why we should believe in the power of the youth to disrupt society positively with the agility of their coding system. Can you understand that code alone can down government of Nigeria, can down aviation, can down the central bank, because most of the software that we are using are proprietary.
Mm.
If they want to hold on hostage, it is this software that they can pin. Now they have the back door that they are listening to all what we are saying. Exactly. Why can't we have an internal Zoom? There's somebody who has created a chat in Nigeria, and it's, of course, it has not been recognized. We have a lot that we do. So there is the hope that when we empower our youth in the very near future, they will be able to disrupt positively this navigation leadership and create a conformity that can get this lethargy at least to a very minimum. And I've advocated, I thought people will be posting, why do you advocate a woman president for Nigeria? This is an issue. We must interrogate it. If we have a country for over 50, 60 years ruled by men, and they are capable women, we
that's
have
a good one for us, women.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think that is a misnomer. It's not to the women, to the women's camp. We're talking about our society. What is good for us? We want to promote a merit-first society. Mm. I've seen classes where women have become first class in PhD, in medicine, and whatever. Society. You go to Harvard, you go to MEC, you see them. You understand? So they are capable. Look at the woman president in Namibia. She's transformed the landscape. No nonsense. Create sanity. Not my brother, not my sister, not my tribe. No. We want to see the best of us that can be in the forefront for the good of the rest of us. I think that is the philosophy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We are grateful for these great insights. I wish we will not stop this webinar, but because it's becoming very interesting as it's getting to the end. Mary First Society. I think we're going to take this conversation outside this place, and we are starting. Like we all are advocating for this. I believe that outside this webinar, I've created a group. Thank God that Mommy Lechukwu even mentioned it. I've already created a group that parents can join, educators, mentors, guardians, so that we can be able to take this further. Then I'll see we can embrace and see how we can add our own inputs and also assist other parents and ourselves as well. So I'll call in my Mrs. Ninola just for 1 minute to say something so that we can wrap up this and can call it a day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's been an amazing session, all the great speakers. I totally agree with everyone. I am opportuned to be the global president for a female technology community where we teach the female, free tech. And I'll tell you for free that the hunger from the female perspective when it comes to tech is high. So I agree with what the Oracle had said. And again, I think there's a paradigm shift that is happening right now, especially in China. There was something I listened to yesterday. There's a school in China where for your PhD, you're not writing thesis, you're doing practical. So you build the AI, you build the robots. They want to see that's your dissertation, that's your presentation that will give you your PhD at the end of the day. So maybe academia should start looking at it from that perspective, from primary school, from nursery school, changing the curriculum. I like what the government is doing around that area, and I'm hoping that the implementation would happen as soon as possible. And I tell you what, I totally agree as well with Prof. Fagboda. My father is 87 years old and is on all the social media you can ever imagine, even Snapchat that I am not in. You find out that the older people are hungry for this technology, and while the younger ones, feel complacent. And again, maybe because they're disappointed in how we have handled the society, and they are not impressed with what we have done so far, so they would rather want to create their own how do I call it, their own way of learning as against being forced to learn. So I mean, for me, I have children that are millennia, and I've seen it through from the mid 20s to teenage age. And I see that the way they learn is quite different from the way we learned, right? And I'm hoping that parents will take that opportunity to be friends with their children and grandchildren so that they can understand their own way of learning. We can't impose this on them. That's why when you hire people, they tell you, look, I want to do remote job. If it's not remote, forget it. Even if they are living next door to your office. And how can you come to a compromise with that? How can you say, you know what, you do remote job, but these are your deliverables every day? So we also as parents need to change our mindset so that we can come together at that level, with where they are. Unfortunately, that's where the world is. So this responsibility is both to the government, the parents, and also to the academia as well. Thank you so much. And I hope that the next webinar will be a lot bigger than this. Yeah. Thank you. God bless.
Thanks so much, ma. Madam Damilola, that was awesome. Thank you so much, ma. Mindset. Thank you. Dr. Bayero Agabi, are you still online? Can you add voice to this, sir? Dr. Bayero Agabi, is you still online? Okay. Okay. I think maybe it's not there. My chairman, Mr. Dr. Adeshino, can you just say something to this 1 minute? He is also the president of School Computer Club Initiative and is the new chairman NCS Lagos. Please, can you have the floor just for 1 minute so that we can round up and end this webinar? I don't think it also is not online. Okay. Madam Gbemi, are you online? I know you had a webinar yesterday where you spoke extensively close to what we're having today. You have 1 minute to speak to this. Okay, thank you. I think I've given everybody opportunity to speak. Thank you so much for your time. It's been all 90 minutes that we've been on. Wow, this is very, very impressive. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all for attending this webinar. And like I said, thank you to all our speakers, Mr. Jide, my mentor. Thank you so much. Mrs. Damilola Anwo-Ade is being awesome as well. And our IT Oracle, We thank you so much for coming on board. And funny enough, you know, when I just posted this on Monday, he just chatted this, said, oh, he would like to speak to this with all joy. I said, who am I? That the whole IT Africa Reku contacts me to be in my webinar. I'm really wowed. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. This is just the first webinar for Rise Up and Sparkle Initiative. Thank you. We appreciate you all for coming, and it's been very educative, interesting, and very insightful. We are not going to stop here. We are going to take it, all the deliverables and every other thing that we have discussed. We'll put them together and we'll take it off from there so that we can have other things to do. Outside this place, we'll see the place of government, parents, academia, what we need to do, and how we can also find a way to change the mindset of parents. Look at what Dr. Fakpoda said. In fact, I was scared. He said that that's 100 people will not be enough, you know, for this webinar. I was okay, no problem. Let me see what I can do to set up YouTube. But I could not set up the YouTube, that's why. But I know it's a good start for us. We'll keep encouraging, we'll keep, you know, trying what we can do to see how to encourage our parents and also our children as well. So I want to say a big thank you all for coming and for being part of this awesome webinar. I'm really, really grateful. And like everybody I've been saying, everybody is learning. I've been learning. And for good thing that everything I've been doing concerning this webinar, the videos, the flyers, everything, AI. I've been using AI to do all of those things. I've been using AI. So you can contact me if you want to learn more. I can also teach you. Yes, but you've got to pay. No problem. So thank you so much. Everybody is learning automation. So, like our daddy too, they are learning. Mommy Bamidele, she's learning. Mommy Lechuku, they are learning. Everybody is learning every day. So why our youth will not want to learn? And for the fact that we want to also encourage our young ones to be STEM ready. And I believe that this is going to be a good job, and all parents will work together to make sure that we achieve this dream by the grace of God. Thank you so much for coming and for attending this webinar. I'm grateful for seeing you all here. Thank you. So I think we can just call it a day, this webinar now. So except maybe any other person have one thing to say as a roundup.
Yeah, you promised me a gift as the first person to log on. Nope, I will still have it.
Okay, sir.
It's been an interesting time. At least I've been able to learn a lot and then still open to learn more. My small token advice is for us to encourage our children to get into technology and guide them as prudential as possible. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. That's a good one, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Bamidele. I have a couple of pointers away. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that we all have key takeaways. In fact, my note is full. I'm so excited having this. I'm part of this webinar today. So thank you so much. I think we have spent exactly 1 hour and 90 minutes. Thank you. And thank God that network has been very helpful this morning, stroke afternoon. Thank you so much. God bless you all. So have a wonderful day. So I'll be looking forward to our next webinar, which will be very interesting and very educative as well. So see you next time. Thank you from Rise Up and Sparkle Initiative.